Hey, good morning, everyone. Just a few minutes today. I decided to do this with a video. I'll post the links to this video on the forum as I promised, because I want to talk to you a little bit about the Blackrock Canyon reroute that we're going to have to do at the end of D1. Before I get into that, I forgot to mention last night. Team Hillbilly has posted some excellent videos over on the forum of their training for the Tour of Idaho. These guys were here a few years ago, had a little bit of bad luck deep into the tour. They're coming back this summer. I suggest you go to the forum and look at their training videos because they're excellent the way that these guys are going about preparing for the tour. So a shout to Hillbilly. Thanks a lot for posting those, and run on over to the forum and take a look. A couple of other announcements. I don't moderate a lot of stuff up to the Facebook page because, again, the Facebook page is the place that I want to reserve to make announcements that are useful to everybody in the group. Every once in a while, I moderate something up that's a little bit offbeat or funny, but for the most part, those are announcements, trail conditions, things like that. So, training videos, things like that just don't make the cut. But please be sure that you post those things over in the forum. That's why I pay $40 a month to maintain that forum. It's to give you the ability to do things like that. So the Facebook page, again, is mostly my ability to communicate directly with you pretty quickly. Facebook's good for that. The forum is for you all to communicate with each other, and I kind of stay out of it. Most things are unmoderated over there. You can kind of post what you want to post, as long as you post it in the place where it's supposed to be. And again, if you don't see a place or you're unsure, PM me or something, and I'll either create a place for you to put it or I'll advise you about where it could go. On that note, thank you very much, T2 and T3 teams, for starting to take advantage of the forum. I don't moderate anything up in the Facebook page from T2 or T3 folks, simply because the forum is specifically a Tour of Idaho T1 Facebook forum. There's nothing wrong and no disrespect meant to T2 or T3 teams. I'm glad you all are out there doing it. But the Facebook page is specifically for T1 folks. And again, those are the folks that are most urgently in need of a lot of this information because they're on the clock. They have specific goals that they have to meet. But I'm going to get into the forum in a few minutes after I'm done with this video. And I noticed that some T2 and T3 people are starting to post things over in the forum. Thank you so much. People ask me all the time, hey, I really appreciate what you did setting all this up. Is there anything that I could do to help you? Well, yeah, there is. You can post things in the appropriate place. That helps me out quite a bit because I don't have to spend time moving things around myself or telling you over and over again, this is really where that should go. And then the one other thing that you can do that really makes me happy is when you get on Facebook, please like our pages. Our group's got 500 or 600 people in it in the Facebook group. I know there are many thousands of people that are interested in this stuff. Yet I look at some of those Tour of Idaho Facebook pages and they have 40 likes. That makes a difference. So again, every time you click onto a page on motorcyclejazz.com, if you really want to do it, be a favor, if you really want to say thanks for the work that you did putting this thing together, I don't need money or anything like that. What I would like for you to do is just go in and indicate that those pages are of value to you by clicking the like button. So please do that. Again, the top level pages all have a lot of likes. But as soon as you go down one level, some of those pages that are pretty important pages have about a quarter of the number of likes as there are people just in this Facebook group. In fact, some of those Tour of Idaho pages have less likes than the average audience for a PBR Monday. So that would help me a lot if you just go in and like those pages. So now let's get into this Blackrock thing. Let me bring up a map here. This is what we're talking about, the Blackrock Canyon area here. And let me make that actually a little bit bigger so you can see it. So there was a catastrophic fire right in this area up here the other day. Those of you who are friends of mine on Facebook saw it. In fact, one of the posts that I did moderate up that would be a good post over in the forum was somebody said, do we need to throw a bucket of water on the Tour of Idaho flagpole? Thank you for the thought. And by the way, a number of you PM me and email me and otherwise got a hold of me during that fire because you were watching the live streams that we were doing. Thank you very much for expressing concern. It was a little bit scary at the time. The wind wasn't blowing in a direction where we really thought that we would be in peril, but it came a lot closer than I would like. At one point, flames about 150 to 200 feet tall were a little less than a half mile away, and had the wind shifted, it would have been toast for us. But it all worked out okay. They're fighting it down. I think a lot of this stuff is going to be reopened in the next week or so, but here's the problem. Teams are going to be starting this weekend. So especially day one where you're on the clock and day one where we are counting navigation and stuff so carefully. Day one's a different day, and I think everybody's aware of that. I can't make a change and then just tell later teams, oh, it's okay. So this shortcut that we allowed 2 and 3 person teams to take to get from here up to here, nobody's going to be able to do that because large parts of this are closed right now. And again, I'm not sure when they're going to reopen. So what everybody's going to do is at this waypoint 111 here, everybody's going to follow this 2-person route, or not the 2-person route, the solo route. This was the 2 and 3 team shortcut coming into Pocatello. What you're all going to do is follow this solo route into Pocatello. Now, the solo route's a better route. It doesn't take that much longer. Maybe it's a half an hour longer or something like 45 minutes. So it's not like we're asking a lot. I wanted to give the 2 and 3 team a little bit of a break at the end of what is a long day, but you need to start maybe a half an hour earlier in the morning. An hour, if you're really concerned about it, you ought to be just fine. I hate doing this so late in the game. I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about this. And we have to make sure that everything's fair for all teams. So if I make the first few teams do this, especially again, since you're really under the microscope on day one, it's got to be the same for everybody. So I hope you all understand it. And actually, it's a better trail. It's just longer. It's not difficult at all. In fact, the way that the shortcut actually has one section in it that may be a little bit more difficult than anything that you find on the solo route. So there you go. Make sure that everybody follows that green line here. This is the solo route. It kind of goes up and around. Make sure you do that. If you do take the shortcut into Pocatello, it's going to be a 1 challenge point penalty. So if you get knackered up, I'm not going to DQ anybody over that, as long as the road's open. If there's signs down there that say it's closed and you ride it, we may have a problem. That's something we'll have to talk about. But if someone opens the road, you decide to take that shortcut, or you do it by accident, or you get confused or something, it'll be a 1 challenge point penalty. That's I'm going to call that right now. But hopefully everybody will be smart enough to figure out this route. Now, again, last year and every year this happens, we have teams that come through, and despite the fact that I've spent the better part of a year talking to most of you, as have others, by the way, other tour vets pipe in all the time and tell you how important navigation is, how important it is to read the route book, how important it is to bring a copy of the route book with you. Understand what the codes on the map mean. Understand the difference between the red and the blue and the green and the black and the yellow lines. Every year there's teams that show up here that don't know any of that. Every year there's teams also that show up here that obviously haven't done their own nav. They got somebody to create a track for them. I've told you before, I consider that to be extremely disrespectful to what we're doing here. But, and if I caught you, I would DQ you. But, that's a little difficult to enforce. It runs against the spirit of what we're doing here. But, I'm aware that people occasionally do things like that, even though it's forbidden by the rules. But please make sure you understand what all those lines mean on the map. I drew all those things out to help you, not to hurt you. But if you indiscriminately ride down the wrong route, as a team did last year, they thought they were on a challenge section. Well, the challenge sections are all yellow. And anybody that spent, a half an hour in there reading route descriptions ought to know that. They're called out in the route description itself on the map. It clearly indicates that challenge sections are in yellow. Blue is, I think, a 3-person option. Red's the nominal route. Green's the solo option this year. I switched that a little bit from last year to this year, so pardon me if I'm not completely clear in that. I know that red is the nominal route, and green is the solo variant. I'm pretty sure blue is the 3-person variant where that exists by itself. And yellow are always challenge sections. The black are the bonus sections, and there's occasionally some purple sections in, though. Those are situational alternatives. And if there's a fire or something closes down one of the trails, those purple routes are on there because I did some of your work for you. I show you ways where in the past we've had some trouble, and those were the quickest ways around problems. That's all that means. If I can explain it to you in less than a minute, which I just did, you should be able to ascertain that for yourself in the year you've had to do all of the navigation. So that's my last sort of plea about make sure you understand the navigation. And that's another reason I wanted to talk to you in video today instead of writing all this stuff down. The come to Jesus talks, the cracking the whip, that's all done. We're finished with that now. We've had a year to talk about all this. So I want to adopt a different tone from here on out. We are a little stern at times. I am a little stern at times, just because 15 years of bitter experience have taught me that not everybody gets the message. And I really want you to get the message. I want you to get the message because I want you to finish. I want you to succeed. I know how hard everybody works before they get here. And I for sure know how hard you work once you're on the trail. I would like to see that come to fruition. I would like to see you get something out of that. I'd like for you to see you finish. And the mistakes that all of us see, me and everybody else that's involved in this thing, we see the same mistakes over and over. Typically, their lack of preparation or their lack of taking things seriously that we said you need to take seriously. That bites people every single year. And we just desperately don't want that to happen. But the time's up for that. We've preached navigation. We've preached riding a loaded bike. We've preached preparation as much as we can. We're pretty much beyond that now. You're at the point where you're putting the last finishing touches on your tour prep. I suggest that all of you tune in to watch the progress of teams that are out on the tour. There's a calendar out there. Their beacon links are all public, and everybody can watch. That's another thing that makes this different from just about anything else that you see on the web. There's a lot of people. I mean, the whole Tour of Idaho thing's been copied by another group, and that's fine. They can do whatever they want, but there's no standards there. There are standards here. People are watching you. You have goals that you have to make. That's what makes what we do unusual. This reminds me a lot of going to grad school. When you're a student, life's kind of easy as an undergraduate. But when you go to grad school, especially in the sciences and engineering, things get real because your life is no longer your own to control. You have to step into a game that somebody else has developed, and you are expected to jump through their hoops and excel. There's value in a process like that. I came from a mountaineering background, and there are certainly rules in mountaineering, but a lot of the things that I did in mountaineering, nobody would have ever known if I fudged it, because you're far away from people. Back in those days, there weren't eyes on you all the time. A lot of the stuff I did was in pretty remote places, and I could have said anything I wanted. Nobody would have known the difference. But there was such an ethic at that time in that sport of, you need to dot all your I's, cross all your T's. It doesn't matter if you climbed a 10,000-foot route and you only grabbed one sling along the way. If you grabbed that sling, you did not do that route free. That's the ethic that I'm used to. So we are transporting something like that here. There is some accountability here. There are some rules that you have to follow. And if you don't want to do any of that, do a T2 or T3 or go do the other thing. But for all of you that have spent a year preparing for this and you're jazzed up and you're getting ready to go, good on you. Welcome. I'm glad that you're coming through this year. I've spent quite a bit of time with a lot of the teams, and I'm extremely happy, and I'm looking forward to meeting you. This weekend, as the first teams come through, this weekend happens to be the weekend that my wife works nights, and so I'm with my kids all day. If you get here early enough, I'll probably be able to meet you at the flagpole. But if you get here a little bit later, that may be difficult. I'll do my best, but I'm trying to get my kids to sleep. My wife's at work, so I have sole responsibility for two small children, one of whom's 2 and one of whom's 4. That's a little bit difficult in the evening, but I'll do my best. And I'll try to catch up with you the next day, if nothing else, on your day off in Pocatello, should you choose to take it. So we got teams coming through. The flag's about to drop. I'm super stoked. Once again, I have respect that I cannot even put into words for everybody that starts down this road. It's a difficult thing. It's a really uncommon adventure in this day and age for people to say, well, I'm not going to make my own rules. I'm going to accept a set of rules that somebody else created. I'm going to try to achieve a standard set by others other than just set by me. That used to be quite common. It's not common at all anymore. Most people want to just say, well, I want to set my own standard. If it's a bullshit standard, that's still good enough for me. It's not the way it works here. Everybody that's ever done this, that's finished, walks away respecting not only their own effort, but the effort of everybody that went before them and everybody that's going to come after them, because what you're about to do is really difficult, and it's really going to test you. So no more come to Jesus talks. No more cracking the whip. Welcome. Congratulations. Get on it. Don't give up unless you have to. You just keep plugging away out there. So that's about it for today. We talked about this variation. I'm not going to map it out. That's something you should be able to do by now. I showed you the map. All you have to do is is make the changes and waypoints yourself. You should have all those alternative waypoints in your GPSs anyway, but if you don't, you have time to put them in there. And again, the variation in Blackrock shouldn't inconvenience you that much. It's necessary to keep everything fair. So that's about it. Maybe a few more videos this week as I get trail updates along the way. Thanks again, everybody, last night for supporting PBR Monday. It was awesome having John Summers and Mark Kincart down here. I noticed that it was one of the biggest live audiences that we ever had. Those guys are great guys. They're good friends of mine, and thanks for supporting them after they drove all the way down here. So I'm going to go over to the forum right now and put up some links and respond to some questions that are over there, and I'll be seeing you. Take care. Bye-bye. Looking forward to the end of the week.